Hey, today I'm super excited to have with me on the Ashes to Diamond podcast is Jo Piper. Now, Jo's from a company called Pet Angel Wings, or PAWS for short, and they were in the Water Wrapper. Now, Jo was an early group of New Zealand women to obtain a qualification in embalming in 1986, followed then by a qualification in the funeral directing industry in 2015. She has an extensive international experience in the field, along with local involvement in the funeral service profession. She's been a past treasurer and executive member of the New Zealand Embalmers Association. And Jo has considerable experience in dealing directly with death, grief, and bereavement, and she brings immense value to PAWS. Now, Jo is a deeply caring and kind person. She's always armed with a comforting smile and compassionate hand. So in joining PAWS, Jo has become New Zealand's first qualified hospice care and pet Afterlife funeral director, and she's the co-owner of New Zealand's very first environmentally friendly Water Cremation Service. And outside of PAWS, Jo enjoys growing bonsai plants and attends the monthly meetings of the Water Wrapper Bonsai Club. So Jo, an amazing lady. Welcome.
Hi, Kara. Thank you
for joining me. I'm so excited to hear what you've got to tell me about PAWS, and so we can learn a little bit more about you.
Sure.
You know, you've got a presentation you want to share with us.
I do have a PowerPoint presentation. I'd love to share it with you. I'll go forward now, and we can talk about this.
Yeah.
So this is our logo, of course, with the angel wings, the blue heart.
I just can't see it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So at the beginning here, we have our logo, which is we're quite passionate about it, and it's quite significant to the meaning of our business. And we have the blue heart, which represents blue blood, obviously a dead heart, no life, and the angel wings, of course, going to heaven with a lotus flower at the bottom.
Wow, so you've put a lot of thought into that.
We did. So what is alkaline hydrolysis? It's a process that utilizes a heated water-based alkaline mineral salt solution to accelerate the breakdown of protein and animal remains. It's known as water cremation, green cremation, eco-cremation, biocremation, aquamation, or resumation. This is the new alternative to flame cremation and burial. Note that aquamation and resumation are names of companies that manufacture alkaline hydrolysis machines. These new age names now appear to have developed into descriptive words for the alkaline hydrolysis process itself. Where is alkaline hydrolysis implemented? Alkaline hydrolysis is available for companion animals and legal for humans in 28 states of America, Canada, Australia, UK, Holland, and South Africa. And it's now in New Zealand and Singapore for companion animals. The New Zealand government is still reviewing alkaline hydrolysis as an option for humans here. Who invented the process? The invention of the alkaline hydrolysis process was by an English farmer named Amos Herbert Hansen, and he wanted to extract nutrients from bones of livestock to make fertilizer. Hansen recognised that the process could be used to break down the protein of the entire body. He meticulously documented the alkaline hydrolysis process that could be used for the decomposition of an entire body. Hansen obtained a patent on the 25th of December, 1888. A century later, Albany Medical College colleagues Kay and Weber revisited Hansen's technique. They posited that the alkaline hydrolysis process could aid in the safe disposal of animals used in research subjects. And when their investigations were successful, they applied for a patent and received a patent in 1994. How does it work? PPE is donned, which is most important. Prior to the alkaline hydrolysis process, the body of an animal is placed into a basket inside the water cremation unit. An amount of alkali is added according to the weight of the animal. The lid is closed, the water level, timer, and temperature is set. Start process button is activated. The water circulates around inside the machine for the time and temperature set. How does it work? Continued. Warm water and alkali create an exothermic reaction and work together to rapidly break down all the tissue protein except for the bones, just like Mother Nature does through oxidation, just a lot faster. The process dissolves the bonds in the body's tissues, and it eventually yields a sterile liquid combination rich in amino acids, peptides, salts, sugars, soaps, and glycol. Water cremation does not destroy bone matter or enamel. Here we have on the left-hand side of the picture is some calcium phosphate, some bone matter that has been accumulated, and it's been created through alkaline hydrolysis. And on the right is fossil fuel. You'll notice in the fossil fuel that there's bits of black and grey, and that is carbon and plastic. After the process is complete, the machine is left to cool to 50 degrees C. pH is lowered. The machine drained and rinsed. Bone matter is removed to separate trays. Bones are then rinsed and dried, placed into a cremulator, and turned into a white granule powder, as you can see to the right of this picture. Ashes can then be scattered and kept in an urn, placed in memorial jewellery or other keepsakes, buried or stored for later. Why choose alkaline hydrolysis? Well, this eco-friendly method reduces environmental impact, emitting fewer greenhouse gases and requiring less land utilisation compared to traditional burial and cremation. One of the appeals of alkaline hydrolysis is that it accelerates the way the deceased animal naturally disintegrates into the earth. An effective remediator for removing environmental pollutants. It's good at breaking down chemotherapy drugs and any other drugs that were in the body. If people want to be embalmed, it breaks down embalming chemicals. Why choose alkaline hydrolysis? Well, flame cremations in America release an estimated annual 360,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide into the air. Alkaline hydrolysis consumes approximately 10% of the energy required to cremate a body in flame. Equipment runs on electricity rather than fossil fuels and emits no greenhouse gases. And the building blocks of protein can be used to create a byproduct that is healthy for the environment. Initially, consumers sometimes react emotionally and not intellectually. But if you get them to reason with it, most people will understand that the process is a much better way to care for yourself and the land. Why is water cremation eco-friendly? The process uses a naturally abundant alkali known as KOH, or potassium hydroxide, and or NaOH, sodium hydroxide, or both. KOH is commonly used in the making of soap, both hard and liquid, and lipstick, shaving foam, among other products. The byproduct is called hydrolysate, which serves as an excellent fertilizer for grass and trees because it is rich in proteins, sugars, and nutrients. Any phosphorus derived from the alkaline hydrolysis process from the residual bone also acts as an essential nutrient for plants. The water lily, the lotus flower. So as I explained at the beginning of this podcast in my PowerPoint presentation was our logo. And I did mention that it had a lotus flower at the bottom of it, which resonated with me. The lotus flower is obviously a water lily, and it comes up in the day and down at night. And in the Bible, it represents resurrection and rebirth. So it just seemed to be appropriate. This is the Reverend Liz Greville blessing Lily before she went into action. We had a waiata and a karakia. So Lily, the water cremation unit, as we call her, rather than the machine, she's called Lily. She's 900 millimetres high, she's 1,400 millimetres wide and 1,000 millimetres deep. She's a 10-bay automated handcrafted water cremation unit constructed of high-grade stainless steel. The cremation room is 2.5 by 3 metres. Lily can take a maximum of 200 kilo animals, and she can cremate 10 small animals in one overnight cycle. Water cremation benefits its gentle, dignified, and respectful process, natural and sustainable. And there's zero emissions, so there's no harmful greenhouse gases, low energy consumption, and 1/20th of energy of flame cremation services. 1/10 of the carbon footprint of flame-based cremation, and also you get 20% more ashes or calcium phosphate returned to families, and the cost is similar to a flame-based cremation. Eco-friendly alternative to fossil fuel cremation. Water cremation is the newest, safest, and most natural end-of-life process that you can choose for your pet. The eco-facts about traditional cremation services are that it requires very high temperatures and energy consumption that are driven off fossil fuels, and it releases toxic greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. The eco-facts about water cremation service are that it uses 1/20th of the energy of the traditional cremation process, and it has zero toxic emissions. Leonardo da Vinci, The unlikely genius did say that water was the driving force of all nature. Alkaline hydrolysis is a gentle, eco-responsible process. It uses water flow, temperature, and mineral salts. It is more like the natural breakdown that occurs after burial than any other body disposition method. Water cremation accelerates the natural process of soft tissue hydrolysis. This is Nala. Nala is a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, cross Pomeranian. She was absolutely beautiful. She was 8 months old. She was hit by a motor vehicle in Auckland on the 26th of August, 2023, and she arrived PAWS 2.5 weeks later on the 15th of September, 23. Her parents, Anik and Vic, have given me permission to use these photos. Anik and Vic were childless and had been childless for 10 years. They brought Nala into their life. As you can see here, they actually had a full funeral for her at home, and they had a little casket that they'd managed to purchase from Kmart, I think it was, a little children's toy box, and they put a sheepskin in it and presented Nala in there. They had flowers, the Bible's in front of her, they are Christian. They had a celebrant. People were invited to their home, and it was also web streamed. Here's just a couple of pictures of things that were around Nala with lots of candles and flowers and her favourite toys. Nala came to me for me to look after her. She was flown down on Air New Zealand with her parents in a chili bin. She was frozen, and she arrived at me in perfect form. Vic and Anik spent the weekend down here with me, and I cared for Nala and returned her calcium phosphate, her bone matter, to them. This is just a little bit of marketing that we have here. Water cremation is a gentler and more environmentally friendly than traditional cremation methods. And of course, a quote from Winnie the Pooh, how can you not be without this? How lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. And PAWS offers a gentle and eco-friendly end-of-life water cremation solution to help ease the burden of your loss. If we have healthy people and healthy animals, we have a healthy environment. Pet water cremations are becoming a preferred end-of-life choice for pet owners globally. Pet owners who want to minimise their global footprint and want the most natural, serene method of afterlife care for their beloved pets are choosing water cremation. A water cremation service is a useful adjunct to any vet or palliative care veterinary clinic, and it's also sustainable. The future. Alkaline hydrolysis has grown in the last 10 years from a novelty offering to one legalised in over half of the USA. Water cremation currently represents less than 0.1% of worldwide population. It took 100 years from the first flame cremation in 1876 for the cremation rate to hit 5% in the United States in 1972, and then less than 50 years to hit 50% cremation in 2016. Fuels, processes, and byproducts of the treatments all differ. The remains flame cremation and alkaline hydrolysis produce to return to their clients are in fact similar. Alkaline hydrolysis yields calcium phosphate, bone matter, without any DNA, RNA, or biological material remaining. This is a video that is on our website that we put together. Our imprint is truly global. Our impact is truly profound. Our blind assault on the planet has finally come to alter the very fundamentals of the living world, and that was by David Attenborough. Our company is the first in New Zealand to cremate pets using water cremation. Water cremation using water, not fire, is a general natural alternative to the current fossil fuel services offered. We love our pets in life and death. We can make a loving choice on how we return their body to the earth. We know that special bond that exists between humans and our companion animals. Pet cremation with compassion and care. This is the closest process to nature that is available. We work in harmony. No direct emissions or harmful greenhouse gases or mercury. A greener cremation alternative for your beloved pet.
It's lovely.
Thank you, Cara.
Thank you, Jo. That is absolutely incredible. So tell me, what got you into this business?
Well, in an unfortunate situation, my employment was terminated and due to a shoulder injury, and a veterinarian has picked me up. No sooner had my employment ended, a veterinarian said, "Come on, Jo, I need you." She'd been in business for 25 years. And she saw a gap in the loop in the system where she had witnessed grief over 25 years with people, and there was there was no one there to pick it up and help people through that grief or acknowledge it. And also, there was very limited choice on how to memorialise your furry companion.
Wow. Well, that's fascinating. I love how I know you had a bad experience, but I also love how all of a sudden one door is open for you, and it's just awesome. It is. It's
Yeah.
gold. So you haven't been doing this for very long, have you?
We've been alive 3 years now.
Wow.
And business is 3 years old. Yes, so we were probably 6 months in creating it before we launched. And prior to, we were working out of the veterinary clinic, but of course space was limited, and veterinary clinics are very busy nowadays, under a lot of pressure. So it was best to move my product and merchandise and a little space across the way into a little shop here, which is very peaceful and quiet for people to come and sit and reflect.
Oh, that's beautiful. And of course, people can come in and talk to you off the street, can't they?
Sure, they do. My window, my front of my shop is completely windows. It's quite blinding in the afternoon with the sunshine, but it's a beautiful little spot. Yeah,
that's wonderful. And I love that story as well that you shared about Nala. That's beautiful.
Oh, yes.
The little dog.
Nala's very special. She'll remain with me forever. They were distraught. Was their baby, and sometimes it's hard for humans to grasp hold of the fact that a pet can be as important as a child. Nala was their child, and I acknowledged that and helped them through their grief. And they've since moved on, and they've memorialised her in the way they wanted to. And I believe they now have a new baby.
Hey.
Yes, a new fur baby at least.
Yes,
anyway.
A new fur baby. Yeah. Oh,
but it's certainly taken a while. Yes, the grief was exhausting. It was just unbelievable.
Oh God, yeah.
Sometimes it's worse than Granny dying. Like it's it's unbelievable, the tears. And I mean, grief is grief. It doesn't matter what it is. It's an emotion that we experience that's heavy and burdensome, and it's only a time. It's a process that takes us to move through it.
And there's no right or wrong, is it? I always say to people, if it feels right, then it's probably the right thing to do.
That's right. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And they tell me, I feel sick and I want to vomit and I've got a knot in my stomach and I seem to be just in a daze or I'm fixated on something. I said, that's okay. That's grief. It's just the way we react naturally to loss. So grief is what we think. It's our internal process, and then we mourn, which is where we cry and we talk about it.
Which again is all part of it, and we go through it in our own way, in our own time.
Sure.
Hey, I've made some notes here, some questions that I thought came up. One thing that you said is you've got 20% more remains, if you like, coming back to the family. That must be really good, because I know I've found with Heart and Diamond that sometimes people, if they have a small animal, like we have made a diamond out of a Chihuahua, but anything smaller than that, they quite often don't have enough material. So that's really interesting.
Well, Chihuahuas are a little bit like cats. In fact, I think, Chihuahuas might be smaller than cats structurally. You might say you have a big cat. Well, she just has a lot of tissue. Their bone structure is minute. So you would get between half to 2/3 of a cup of calcium phosphate or bone matter back from a cat. Your cat might be 5 kilos, but their bone structure is still very small. Yeah.
Right.
And Chihuahuas and small dogs, they're very, very small bone structure, skeletal at least anyway.
And then that gives the family more choice as to what they want to do, how they want to memorialise as well.
Well, it does. Yes, but of course, you can choose a receptacle or an urn or a piece of memorial jewellery. Of course, now they've got Returnity stones that you can send away and have the calcium phosphate made into a stone, like you can diamonds, which is quite unique here for New Zealand as well.
I think it's great. It gives family more choices as well, especially if I've had it where they want to share the animal amongst other family members.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah,
I think it's pretty special. So, hey, roughly how long does the cremation process take?
It depends on the size of the animal. I've had a 90 kilo animal, 90 kilo dog, and that took 12 hours.
Okay.
But of course, if I'm going to do small animals or have 10 small animals, it probably take 9 hours. In fact, I set my machine to 9 hours, and it runs overnight.
Right. Okay. And then when you come,
24 hours to cool down.
Oh, does it to cool down? Wow.
Yep. Yeah, but before it's safe for me to open because of fumes because it's caustic. Yeah, the pH is an alkali.
Right.
It's way up the pH scale. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. And then obviously you take that bone matter out and you said you dry it. What sort of process
Yes, I
do you go
do.
through then?
I lower the pH and then I drain the machine and then rinse the machine out as well as the bone matter. And then I will take the bone matter out of each little chamber or cubicle and place that separately onto trays. And then I will wash it with a soap because it can be a little bit greasy at times because glycol is a byproduct or glycerin. And then I will rinse it, of course, again and then drain it, dry it, and then I'm able to cremulate it or break it down into small pieces, crush it down, which becomes cremains or what people term ashes.
Ashes, yeah, that's right.
Which is a very old term, yeah, very, very old fashioned.
But it's a term that we still use. It's quite.
Yes, it is.
Prolific. Yeah. Okay. So another question: how hot does the machine get?
I can see. I set my machine at 97 degrees C. It doesn't boil. Definitely not. The water just circulates gently. It has my machine has 2 fountains in it, 2 rods that circulate the machine throughout the entire 9-hour process at 97 degrees C. But as I said, it takes 24 hours to 50 degrees.
Wow, that's absolutely fascinating. Now, and on another story, when we were talking, you talked about that you have actually embalmed an animal for a family.
Oh, well. Yes.
Yeah, do you want to share that with me?
Well, it was kind of special. I'd always wanted to embalm a cat, but don't ask me why. But being an embalmer, there's been a couple of people embalm cats, and over the past years, I know a gentleman embalmed his dog, and I know Massey University have had embalmers up there to embalm seals or marine life for exploratory exercises later on for students. I had a gentleman come over from the other side of the coast, and he brought Puss with him, and Puss was about 16 years old, but belonged to his 24-year-old autistic son, and the son wasn't quite ready to let Puss go. He didn't quite understand. Shorty was the pussycat's name, and he had been very, very unwell, and he was severely dehydrated, and he was in quite a poor condition. He was very matted on one side. I had the opportunity to whip down to one of the local funeral directors and get some fluid and different bits and bobs that were essential for the process, and studied the anatomy, which is very, very of the cat, which is very, very circulatory system, in fact, which is very similar to a human, almost identical. It was incredible. And I embalmed Puss. And he was with me for 3 days, so I just had to let him settle before I could send him back, and I popped him into a little burial box, and the gentleman came back and collected Puss and took him home, and he was around for 3 weeks. Then the family had a little service at home and buried him.
Oh, that's pretty special.
It was special.
It is. It's really special, and it obviously helped their son as well deal with the process, what was happening.
Yeah, that's right. Instead of, one there 1 minute, gone the next, like it's always very, and being special needs, and although, autism they can be very gifted at the same time, he just didn't quite grasp the process because he hadn't experienced it.
Wow. Hey, Jo, this has been an absolutely fascinating meeting and that with you. I've loved every minute of it. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yes, Pet Angel Wings here is based in Masterton. We set up during lockdown, came in need as veterinarian clinics started to overflow with deceased animals and nowhere to go. And because there was no gas lines here in the Wairarapa, and I knew about water cremation being a funeral director, there were no rules and restrictions or legalities required for the cremation of animals and water. So I bought a water cremation unit into New Zealand, and it all started from there. So we're based in Masterton. We take animals from all over New Zealand. We had animals come down from Taranaki, the Manawatu, Auckland, of course, and come down. They normally fly down with their animals. I have had one person drive their animal down, and they come from Wellington as well. But we have a unique business, and I'm here to service all of New Zealand.
Wow. No, that's fascinating, Jo. It's been wonderful catching up with you, and I really value your time. And
thank you, Kara.
No, you're welcome. And I'll make sure that I'll put in the notes where people can get in contact with you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
You're welcome.